That's weird. That's weird. Kind of weirding me out.
You are a sad, strange little man.
Crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy. Isn't that weird?
That's weird, man.
It's strange.
Welcome back, campers, to episode 31 of Camp Strange.
Fuck, 31?
31.
Yeesh.
We're 31. And I am your camp counselor, Alex Tobin.
And I'm your other camp counselor, David Stokes.
And we're here to bring the weird and the strange and the spooky and the I don't know.
Whatever's
everything.
Interesting to us.
Yeah,
You're listening to us.
Basically, we call ourselves Camp Strange, but we just find stories that we think are cool or interesting, and we tell you. So they're not necessarily always spooky. Sometimes they're just really interesting, but maybe got a strange twist to them, you know? Yeah. Anything interesting is a little strange.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so speaking of, David, you got a, we like to catch you up on our weekly news. Not necessarily weekly, just news we find.
Oh, yeah.
And it might also be from 3 years ago, and we never know.
It happens. This is a quick one that I just thought was funny, and it is possum gets male anatomy stuck in a fence, thanks MPD responders for the rescue with a hiss. Don't need much more information on that one.
I'm kind of glad you ended with a hiss. I was really scared where that was going. Like, he thanked the people with. I thought it was going to be like a humping situation or something.
No,
which would it would mean a lot more. go a longer way with. With the who'd you say rescued him?
The NPD. I'm gonna guess that's like Maryland Police Department. I didn't click on it.
Oh, you called the police for that?
Yeah.
You don't just
you see a possum dangling by his dinky. You call 911.
Oh my! I'm so disappointed in that person who dialed 911. Just get your hands on a possum dick and just do the deed.
Gripper and Ripper.
Don't. That's not that. No.
No. Okay.
But I'm just saying, you know, like the possum's like standing there watching this guy call somebody and then wait a half an hour, and he's like, please, just like do something about this. But
yeah. You want another one?
After that one, maybe not. I don't know.
This one's way better.
Okay.
Madonna accused of watching whale bestiality porn.
That's not. Is that bad?
I think it is.
Is that looked down upon?
Honestly, I'm kind of surprised that footage even exists.
Whale bestiality porn.
There's got to be a process to getting that footage.
Yeah, I'm more concerned about the guy filming it than the person watching it.
Or the person. I mean,
I guess it's a nature thing, right?
I mean, okay.
When does nature become porn? Yeah,
so I feel like the term bestiality has to be a human interacting with an animal. I don't think it's like two dogs humping. That's not bestiality.
Oh, I guess you're right. Shit.
Yeah.
I thought, oh my God, I didn't think about that. I'm sorry. Oh my God, now I'm just wondering about the physics of it.
Yeah. I tried to click on the article.
When you said bestiality, kind of went over my head, and I was just picturing whales on whales, and I was like, oh, that just means every time I've watched Planet Earth, I'm like watching animal porn, but I don't.
Yeah.
But no, bestiality, that's a
no-no in God's eyes.
Yeah, and how was the whale beached?
Well, I wanted to read the article, and I clicked on the article, and the pop-up that came up for...
Was that police department that rescued the dick?
Well, the page I'm looking at, I can't read any of it because there's a pop-up that says, can't miss this, and that's with a K, can't.
Oh, no.
And in big font, it says, want to see Kim without Photoshop? Enter your email address. And then underneath it says, enter your email address. It says, as if it's the click of, like, enter. The enter click is see Kardashian's nightmare.
That's so much more interesting. Please click that. Please click
Well, and then underneath
I don't care if you get a virus.
And then underneath that, a lesser click on is, what's a Kardashian?
Shut the fuck up.
You can look if you want.
Okay, I believe you. You can't make that up. That's too good to make up.
Yeah. And then I have another one.
Okay, but before we move on,
because I have the one I sent you that you told me to save.
Oh, that one
that you already forgot about.
That's really good. I didn't remember what it was, but David.
I forgot as well. I had to go back and find what I sent you.
Yeah.
Which I still don't think this is a real tweet by the. Oh God, damn it.
What?
By CNN Miami. News at 5. Florida man bites his brother's penis off after he walks in on his brother having sex with his cousin on his favorite Dragon Ball Z blanket.
You know what the best part of that is?
The photo of the guy?
No, he has multiple Dragon Ball Z blankets.
It's his
and
favorite.
That's his favorite.
It's his favorite one.
Not the cousin. Not the fact that he bit his brother's penis off. It's the fact that it's his favorite one, and his brother knew it.
It has Trunks on it. He loves Trunks.
Oh, does it have Trunks on it?
I don't fucking know. That's the only name I can think of besides
Piccolo.
Piccolo. Goku.
Yeah. See, you Gohan.
Gohan.
We could go on
what
for
was
hours.
what was like the bad guy but kind of good guy?
Frieza.
No. He was the bad guy. Who was
Majin Buu. I don't know.
he had black hair. He was kind of like Goku but a little bit smaller.
Over 5,000. I remember.
Vegeta.
Yep, that's him.
Yep.
Anyway.
No, so this guy, he has a very interesting haircut going where it's a shaved head, but he left two very distinct patches long that he has greased up into like horns.
It's the Juggalo look. You got a little Juggalo in there.
Or like retro Mudvayne. And he's got a nice goatee. And he has blood on his face, and his eyes are not looking the same direction. But
I wonder what his brother looks like right now.
yeah, I'd love to see that.
Oh. I mean,
How do you go about interrupting sex and biting someone's penis off?
Well, I think it probably turned into a wrestling match, and then when
You think you think once he saw that going down, he was like, I don't care if my brother's penis blood gets on my favorite blanket. It's already gone.
Yeah, I mean, he
Cut your losses.
Yeah, he's like, it's not my favorite blanket anymore.
Yeah.
Because of the act that defiled it.
Yeah, it was special to him.
Yeah, well, okay, you had some pretty good ones, and that one, I remember you sent it to me, and I laughed out in public, and I said, please do not, I don't want to read anything about this, and just save this for the podcast. It's too good. I don't even know if that's made up. That's too good.
I think it's made up, but you never know.
It doesn't matter.
The fact that I found it on Instagram and it's not on a website.
The guy's picture is good enough, So, but mine's a little bit more wholesome, and I wanted to bring this up to you because it's interesting, but it's also kind of close to your home, literally, and I don't know, figuratively, but Bend, Oregon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shout out Schaefer.
They have the last of a dying breed.
I know they do.
What is it?
Blockbuster.
They have the last Blockbuster. There were two Blockbusters open. One was in Bend, Oregon, and one was in Australia. I don't know where in Australia.
See, I thought there was one in Alaska and one in Montana, but I guess they might have been long gone.
I mean, that's the thing. When you're the third and fourth to go down as a Blockbuster, it's not that big of news. But when you're the second to last, that's when probably got a little bit more press. But now Bend, Oregon is the last one, and apparently I was reading the article, and it was too long of an article to tell you the truth to look at these videos on the shelf. But apparently this couple they had like 5 originally, and I think they've owned them for like 15 years, and all of them closed except for this one, and they're like, oh, we don't like make money on it. We're still like just doing payments from it, and I don't understand how a company can go completely bankrupt and shut all their stores. I know they're franchises, but like, how can you do they just like forfeit the name of Blockbuster? Where like, since you own the franchise, like, hey, corporate's out, but if you guys just want to keep this, you can.
I'm sure it's something like that.
That's kind of weird, though.
I'm sure there had to have been a request to be like, hey, is it cool if we keep calling it that? And they're probably just like, fuck it, we don't care.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I mean, at some point, like, who's really? Yeah, exactly. But I just wanted to reminisce for a second about Blockbuster because I had a lot of good memories at Blockbuster, and also
I was a Hollywood Video guy.
I was about to say the other one that went out of business way quicker, which was Hollywood Video. That was my stomping ground.
Oh,
but then Hollywood Video closed in my town, and I started going to Blockbuster. But the thing I definitely remember about those video stores is one, the gumball machine with the slide going down, and you could win like sometimes you win like a free video or something. Yeah. And the other thing I remember was I would do this thing where I would go and I'd have like a rated R horror movie or something like that, or just like I tried to get like Van Wilder or something like that. That was one that I remember.
Movie.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I want to watch this, but like there's no way I'm allowed to. And I would wait till the last second, and my mom would be like, did you get your movie? And I'd be like, yep. And then she would be at the counter, and I strategically like walk up, slide it underneath one of the other videos, and the fucking, like, sometimes it worked, but sometimes the fucking person behind the counter would be like, I remember specifically one time, the guy picked it up, and he goes, he like knew I put it there, and he's like, So you want to rent this movie right here? It's a rated R movie for graphic violence, nudity, gore. And he started reading off the back of it. I'm like, you fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Like, there's a difference between, like, buying beer for somebody outside of a gas station, like a minor, but that's a whole new level of dick.
Yeah, no, I remember those sneaking it in there.
It was so fucked up. But it's also kind of crazy to think about when you went to the movie store that they had, like, 25 of them all there, and sometimes like all 25 were still there.
Yeah.
And you're like, this can't be profitable, right?
Yeah.
Because after that movie's not popular anymore, one goes on the shelf. Maybe two.
Maybe two, yeah.
So it's kind of like it makes sense, but I would definitely go to that Bend, Oregon one because it is so hard to find like old good movies now. Like one of my favorites, Almost Heroes. With Chris Farley and Matthew Perry.
Yeah.
Sometimes hard to find.
It's just why you got to buy it for $2 on Amazon.
I guess you're right, but then you got to wait for shipping. Oh, no, you can probably stream it, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't do that. I just
yeah, okay.
I'm going to redact what I say about how I get movies sometimes.
Yeah.
But
no, I used to love Hollywood. We had that deal that was like you could have like 3 movies in a game out. And and you have to return a movie, and you can. It was a monthly fee instead of like an individual fee.
Oh, that was when they tried to do like the whole movie pass thing, huh?
It was awesome.
Okay,
I love that shit. Just the video games alone made the deal.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
You could take the game for a month and take as long as you need to beat it, and you could just go in and get a new one.
Because that's what you do most of the time is you go and you get the game, and you just try to beat it as fast as you
possible,
can.
Yeah.
You get they're like 3 to 5 days. I'm like, okay, see you guys in 3 to 5 days. I'm about to go in on this game right now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and then what's the point of renting multiplayer games at that point?
Exactly. See, that wasn't as big of a thing back then.
No, true. Yeah, there's no online.
There's more story, god damn it.
I miss the story.
Yep.
But, yeah, so Blockbuster, if you guys find yourself in Bend, Oregon, go check it out. It'll be a nice little walk down memory lane, and you go get yourself some Bunch of Crunch and some Chewy Nerds. Remember
You talking about the Nerds Rope?
Nerds
I
Rope.
fucked with
No,
the
remember
Nerds
the
Rope.
fat chewy nerds that were like that's like Katie's favorite. It's like the big fat chewy nerds that look like little discs. You understand? They're like big not nerds. Sweet tarts. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The big chewy sweet tarts.
Yeah.
Those are good. And like Bunch of Crunch in the box. Oh man, it's all so good. Remember the weird popcorn or like the cotton candy that you would get? Like the tin foil bag of cotton candy.
I never bought it because it looked too sketchy.
It looked gross, and then they also had like the buckets with like the popcorn at the bottom, so you just put the whole bucket in. And,
Yeah.
Man, I miss that.
We should open one.
I got money to burn. Actually, LA is the one place it might work.
Yeah, probably.
Honestly, like people are obsessed with movies here for obvious reasons, and people really like nostalgia.
Yep.
And I don't know, so.
Yeah, we can get just 8,000 copies of the Goonies, and that's all we have.
The Goonies. And then we just have a guy who dresses up like Sloth the whole time and scares customers.
Couldn't be hard to find. Not in this beautiful city.
Everyone's looking good, but there's one sloth in every city. Come on.
Yeah.
We just got to find him. Okay, so we should probably get into these stories now.
Yeah, we probably could.
Yeah.
I was also going to say, I did Google penis bite Dragon Ball Z.
Don't Google that, no.
And there is a photo of a Dragon Ball Z bed set, but I don't know if that's
cool.
the one that it was
Is there
from.
blood all over it?
Not on this one. I mean, not on the cartoon. I mean, obviously these big burly fighty boys with the golden hair covered in blood because they've been fighting all day, but just trying to get those balls.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think it's the only.
Well, too bad they couldn't Piccolo it up, and maybe he could grow another one. You know.
You never know.
That's how it is. Piccolo rips off. He gets his arm ripped off.
Is that why he's called Piccolo? He could regrow his dick.
I mean, no, he didn't get his dick ripped off. He got his arm ripped off. It doesn't matter. Any Dragon Ball Z fans out there know that, but I don't have to go into detail because I don't want to. So let's get into these
Leave
stories.
it at that, huh?
Yep, let's do it. So today I'm going to be getting into not one, not two, but 3 stories, and they're not very long, but they all have an overarching theme. They are all about World War II. And I love everything having to do with World War II because I find it like...
Who was your favorite team?
The one with... no, I have to go with the Allies on this one, you know. Home I'm from there. Mm-hmm. I'm not a bandwagon fan,
Mm-hmm.
you know. I'm from there and America. So, yeah, so I'm going to be getting into 3 separate events in World War II, and I just find World War II so fascinating. I love everything about it, and except for the really bad parts. I don't like those. But so I'll just jump into this first story to get you into it.
Yep.
So this first thing, this has become a more popular story in the past couple, actually months, but I don't want to give any spoilers away, so we'll see if you heard of it.
Okay.
So the Chichijima Incident was during September of 1944 when 9 airmen escaped from their planes after being shot down during bombing raids on Chichijima, a tiny island 700 miles south of Tokyo. So they all ejected from their planes after being shot down after doing this bombing raid. 8 of the men were captured, but the 9th got away because the 20-year-old boy ditched his plane further from the island than the rest of them. He found a life raft and he got picked up by a U.S. submarine. But as for the other 8, the horrific fate of the flyboys was established in subsequent war crime trials on the island of Guam. But details were sealed up until in top secret files in Washington to spare their families distress. So originally when all this stuff went down, Washington didn't try to release these to one, like scare the fellow soldiers and scare the public, and also like distraught the families. So they kept them locked away for years. So the files established that the 8 men were tortured, beaten, and then executed either by beheading with sword or by multiple stab wounds from bayonets and sharpened bamboo stakes. But
I think I'd take the beheading.
Oh, we're gonna go into this again. Which one do you want to choose?
Yeah.
I take the beheading. Like, that's
one swift cut instead of a bunch of stabs.
Yeah. And it's kind of like, I don't know. It seems like more of like a cool Japanese way to like if you got beheaded, it's kind of like my favorite show is Game of Thrones. So I mean,
yeah,
follow
more honor in it.
Follow Ned, you know. But the thing that became very war criminal like was that 4 of the men were butchered by the island's garrison surgeon Yoshio Takibana, and their livers and meat from their thighs eaten by senior Japanese officers. So they committed cannibalism on 4 of the 8 men, I believe, because one...
You should have seen those legs.
Well, I mean, the fucked up thing was...
It's not too far.
Dude. So, but, like, they also said that they took, like, parts from their arms and whatnot, like that. I'm fixing my mic, sorry. They took parts from their arms. They also, they said they didn't have good refrigeration, so they would, like...
Eat it quick?
No, they would, like, take off parts as they, like, wanted to eat. Like, that night, if they wanted to eat, they would cut off, like, a part of somebody or something like that.
Keep them alive?
Yeah, they keep them alive.
Okay.
Like, they'd cut off their leg or their arm or something.
Okay.
So, that was basically the worst, like, part of it that the war crimes definitely became more prevalent with. But not all the men were eaten, but they were all killed. And after the war, when these crimes came to surface, Takibana, alongside 11 other Japanese personnel, was tried in August of 1946 in relation to the execution of U.S. Navy airmen and the cannibalism of at least one of them. So they couldn't prove all of them, but they said at least one of them because they wrote it in like their documents or something like that. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of, I don't want to go into too much detail, but like one of the things was somebody said they didn't have enough meat, and then another person said that they did it because of it's like a I don't know, I guess it's like a dishonor thing where they want to like eat the person, or it's like good for them. They believe that it's like it would make them stronger, it would be better for them, or like, drink the blood of your enemies type thing.
Yeah, I'd see it being like you're no lesser than like a pig.
Exactly. Like
yeah.
It could have many interpretations. We don't really know, but like apparently like the one thing that they always said I kept reading different articles was that they ate the liver, and the guy was like talking about how he cooked it, and you're like, oh, what the fuck? But like they ate the liver with the little parts, and then they're eating the other pieces and stuff. But it was all from that one guy, I think Takibana. Is that what I said his name was? Something like that. But
that's why I've been destroying my liver since the age of.
Yeah,
let's go with 21.
My thing is they can't eat your liver if it's full of toxins, right?
Yeah.
So you guys want to survive?
Mine's non-existent.
You know what to do. I'm not telling you what to do, but you know what to do. So, but like I said, not all men were eaten, but they were all killed, and all these war crimes came to surface, and Takibana, alongside 11 other Japanese personnel, were tried in August 1946 because of the cannibalism of at least one of them. Because Military and international law did not specifically deal with cannibalism, so they were tried for murder and prevention of honorable burial, which is very interesting because I guess they never thought that cannibalism would be a problem, so they just didn't have a law for it.
Yeah.
And so they're like, well, what can we pin them for? So I guess prevention of honorable burial is something that I would think that would not be in the law, but like honor is very big in Japan.
Well, people still honor that, do they not?
What do you mean?
When,
I bet still today that there's still a huge...
When it comes to war, like if there's a certain burial like procedure for your religion or where you're from, I feel like people typically uphold that, do they not?
I don't know. Like they threw Osama bin Laden in the sea, right?
Well, I was gonna say I thought they did something for Saddam or Obama or Jesus Christ, Osama bin Laden. Like I thought that they
said burial at sea, but like
okay.
I don't know what that means. I don't know what his religion was technically. I don't know if it was even a hoax. A lot of people think that like why didn't you bring back the body and they didn't actually get him or something like, you know what I mean? But but honor is huge in Japan and like you know these
especially in war and stuff like that.
And like these people were at war. We get that deaths happen and stuff like that, but I guess the Japanese were prosecuting their own because they're like, this is too far. It's kind of like when Americans came back from Vietnam and they're like, you were killing villagers who had nothing to do with
women and children.
Yeah, exactly. So, but 30 of the Japanese soldiers were prosecuted, and only 5 of them were found guilty. And Takibana, the general who ordered the execution and the cannibalism, was sentenced to death, and he was actually hanged. So, so that guy was, that's kind of, I don't know. I feel like that's pretty just because it's just fucked up, especially if you're keeping them alive and taking off pieces and stuff.
Yeah.
But here's the reason why it became very popular in the last couple months was that the last surviving member of the 9 Flyboys was told about the crimes years later, how his fellow soldiers were subjected to torture, and when he was told the details of the crimes, he sat there with his head down, shaking all the while, somber in remembrance. That man would go on to be president of the United States, and that was George W. Bush Sr.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So George Bush was one of the 9 Flyboys. He ejected a little bit farther from the island. All the other guys were caught, and he jumped on a life raft.
Damn, I did not know that.
You didn't know that?
No.
So that's why, because he just passed a little bit ago, and
yeah.
that story got brought up a couple times, and he jumped on a raft, and then a U.S. submarine found him, and then he told them what happened. And they fired a bunch of missiles on the island, but it was like it was too far at that point, and they got the 8 men and did what they did. And
no wonder Junior didn't do shit in the war.
I mean, yeah, could you blame him? It's like, and in the article too, they're like, well, like he didn't cry, he didn't wail or anything. They're like, he's just like a man of a different generation, which is kind of true. Like back then, like you're just like. You see a lot more death than
you knew what you signed up for.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of thing.
The World War II era people, there's like, yeah, I lost 40 of my friends or something like that. Well, hopefully none of us, I mean, all of us don't lose anybody, but, in the recent future, but they were losing friends at like 20, 21 years old. So it's like, you kind of, like you said, you sign up for this, you know what you're getting yourself into. So
that's always one of the craziest things to me when I read or hear about these old war stories is just how young everybody is.
It's crazy. I saw a picture of him when he was 20 and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
He's so young. Like he was flying a plane. Oh my God.
I know. I couldn't even run a washer and dryer at 20.
You can't rent a car until you're 25?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. And but they needed all the people they can get. And
no, for sure. That's definitely.
I wonder how old the other men were. I didn't read that. They didn't really go into detail, but I mean, they had to have been young too, at least. So, Rest in peace, George W. Bush Sr. And
didn't have to agree with anything that he did or anything like that, but he was one of our U.S. presidents and deserves respect.
Yeah, so especially for just serving in the military. That's,
for sure.
Pretty cool.
Definitely.
Okay, let's get into this next World War II story. That one was a little sad. This one's a little bit more fun.
Yay!
So this one is under the name Operation Mincemeat.
I don't know. Sounds fun.
I've heard of mincemeat pies. I don't know what they are.
I think mincemeat.
It's a British thing.
I'm
mincemeat.
I tend to get these ideas in my head where I'm just like, this is exactly what it is. Before you Google it, though, let me tell you what I think mincemeat is.
Tell me what you think it is.
I think mincemeat is where you just take basically all the fucking meat, like a hot dog, and just mince it up. Come on, man. You gotta be adjusting your microphone
I'm sorry.
that. Just grabbing it and twisting around.
So you mash up all the meat and you.
It's like a hot dog.
That's like more of like pig parts and.
But I'm saying like you just like take whatever is edible and mash it up.
Okay, kind of like a meatloaf.
Yeah, you're just mashing it.
Okay, or like a fruit cake. So it says mincemeat is a mixture of chopped dried fruit, distilled spirit and spices, and sometimes beef suet, beef or venison. Originally, mincemeat always contained meat, but many modern recipes contain beef suet.
So there's really not
the
that much.
Short meat is sometimes used in its place.
So there's a lot of like, would you say fruits?
Yeah, it looks like it's like a pie with like some fruits in it, and sometimes they throw some meat in it.
I never knew what mincemeat actually was.
I had no idea.
I just thought it was
either.
like a gross smashed up meat thing.
I honestly thought it was too. I mean, the picture's not great. It kind of looks like fruitcake a little bit.
Okay, well, I gotta Google it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we'll make some mincemeat. I mean, it's still relevant, right?
See, I feel like it has like kind of a bad kind of vibe on it, though. I feel like people never speak in mincemeat.
It's like Vegemite.
Wow, when I googled mincemeat, the first thing that came up was a sweatshirt that is just a image of a big old slab of beef printed over a sweatshirt.
Nope, that's not it.
$16 though.
That's not worth it. So we'll get into Operation Mincemeat, which is apparently this is a very well-known or somewhat well-known story in Britain. All of our British listeners, let us know if you've heard this before. I'm pretty sure you have. But we don't know about it a lot like in the States. I read this on Reddit. And the guy was like, I feel like he's like, not a lot of Americans know about this. And I was like, oh, so this is like a super interesting story. And it's fucking cool. It's so awesome.
All right.
So during World War II in 1943, the Allied forces were about to invade Sicily, Italy, one of the Axis' power, and Adolf Hitler knew it was coming. So Sicily is the southern island off the tip of the boot of Italy, and they wanted to grab it as like a fortress or whatever. The Allied forces were.
It's a good military outpost.
Yeah, and Hitler.
A lot of view.
Yeah, and Hitler knew it was coming. So, in order to keep Hitler from stationing all available troops on Sicily to fight off an invasion, the British hatched a plan to fit a dead body with a British Royal Marines uniform and with letters that said the Allies were going to invade Greece and that they were using Sicily as a decoy.
Okay.
So they're like, okay, we're going to dress up this body. We're going to put some letters in his pockets. We're going to throw them in the ocean.
Yeah.
And see if they find him.
Yeah.
Try to distract him. So, because they already blew their plans about trying to get Sicily.
Just a good old bamboozle.
So, exactly. So, it's really cool. And so this plan was called Operation Mincemeat, and they proceeded to then drop the dressed-up body off the coast of Spain, which was closely aligned with Germany. The Spanish found the body and gave the Germans the letters. The Germans thought that the body was that of an actual Royal Marines officer, so they read the letter. They read the letters and moved all of their forces ready to defend Greece instead of Sicily. The Allies then successfully invaded Sicily, and in part because Hitler took the bait. And the invasion ended up being very important because it resulted in Italy being knocked out of the war. So, like, it's just kind of great because Hitler was, like, one-upped and humiliated.
Yeah.
I mean, not, like, personally, but it's, like...
You always love seeing Hitler getting humiliated.
Stick it to Hitler,
Yeah.
That's cool. But it's also cool because a year later, when the Allies were preparing for D-Day, real plans for D-Day fell into German hands in a similar fashion on accident.
Damn.
But the Germans thought that they were fake because of how they've been fooled during Operation Mincemeat. So they tossed the plans and implemented no further moves in fear of a setup. So instead of getting embarrassed again, they're like, fuck this. We found these plans too easily.
Yeah.
Toss them. They're not real. And then like all the Americans were like, and the French were like, oh fuck yeah, that was definitely real. Like,
yeah.
God damn it.
Well, I mean, that's what's crazy because like, I mean, I feel like I'm gonna go ahead and say that like D-Day was not a very not the most successful.
It wasn't
operation.
It was bad.
Like there was a lot of lives lost that day. So could you only imagine like how much worse and how much the war could have changed if like they actually looked at like prepared for it.
Yeah, and I'm no World War II expert, but if you guys don't know about D-Day, it is the opening scene of Saving Private Ryan.
It's the beach in Normandy, isn't it?
Which is storming the beach in Normandy, France, and it is the opening scene in Saving Private Ryan, which is like amazing. It's like a 20-minute, 15-minute long scene, and they basically had to run. They came in on this beach and they had to like take this hill, and they just had a ton of guns coming down on them, and they actually eventually got it. And I don't know the implications and like what it did for the war, but I just know that they did lose a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean they pulled in these huge boats with probably 30 people loaded on it, and it was an easy target.
It's the most iconic probably World War II thing where you see everybody in like the U-boats, and they're like going in, and then the big thing drops down and they run out on the beach, and then there's the big
metal things.
They look like giant jacks.
Yeah.
Remember jacks? And so
I feel like there's a significant amount of fatalities, percentage-wise, that didn't even get off the boats.
Oh no, tons of people. Yeah. Like, I mean, if you watch the Saving Private Ryan, like literally in the beginning, you just see them like planes fly over and just go do, and you just see people like getting shot up in the boats. And there's like standing right next to these guys who are getting shot up, and it's fucking insane. And then the gates drop, shot up. You run down the beach, shot up. You just have to. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane. So, but the best, another really cool fact that to pin on this is one of the people who originated the idea for Project Operation Mincemeat was Ian Fleming, the eventual author of the James Bond novels.
Okay.
Is that cool?
Yeah.
So I think I don't know much about Ian Fleming, but
the names sound familiar, but I couldn't quite pin it.
I don't know if he was an actual spy. Was he an actual spy, or is he just an author?
That'd be a ballsy move to be an actual spy and then be like, I'm gonna make movies about spies.
He was a English author, journalist, and naval intelligence officer who is best known for James Bond series. So he was like a retired, I think he's like probably a retired naval intelligence officer who's like, well, I know, like, what's the one thing I know about? He's like, I know a lot about the military, so let me write a spy novel. And then it just kind of took off, I think.
Yeah.
And he got himself a nice spot in Jamaica, which I saw in Anthony Bourdain, which is really cool.
Cool. Rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace. Too many people dying.
No.
Everyone crying and dying. And okay. Anyway, let's. I'm gonna get into this last story, and before I get into it, this was a story I thought was very interesting. It's a little longer, and it has to do with World War II, but it was a story that somebody's grandfather told them, and then they wrote it up on Reddit. So I don't know the validity of the story. You can't really, prove some of this stuff. Once you start listening to the story, you'll understand why you can't prove some of it. But it was a compelling story, really interesting, and I do believe it's true to a certain extent, and I'll get into it right now. So the story was written by Igloo444, and it is that's his name. So
on that birth certificate.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll be reading this in his wording. So when he says my grandpa, it is not my grandpa, it is his grandpa or her grandpa. So it says, the following is a story my grandpa used to tell me before he passed away. My grandpa was a British infantryman in the Second World War. He was only about 19 years old, which goes back to like how fucking young they were, Jesus Christ, when he enlisted to serve his country. And while he thought that joining the military would give him opportunities to seek exotic locations around the world, he was never deployed to Tanzania or Italy or the Pacific. Instead, he ended up practically in his own backyard, Switzerland. Now, Switzerland did its best to maintain neutral status throughout the war, but regardless of its attempts to maintain neutrality, Switzerland was still highly sought after by both the Allied and the Axis power. Only once the Nazis began committing acts of aggression against Switzerland, England provided reinforcements to the Swiss military. Yet, in an effort to prevent open war within its borders, the Swiss government instructed its military and the British reinforcements to perform a series of tactical retreats into the Alps. That's how my grandpa found himself stationed in a remote village in the Swiss Alps. And there's one thing I know about the Swiss Alps, and that it is cold in the winter and snowy. That's not a song, but I wrote that in my.
I mean, when you've got the singing talent, you gotta just let it rip sometimes, huh?
Snow in the winter.
Should we make a Christmas album?
Yes.
If we made a Christmas album, could we just put it out as a podcast and just have like a 5-second break between each songs? I don't see what's stopping us.
Okay. I guess you're right technically. So we just release it as like one. It's harder for people to find each individual song, but I like your idea.
You break it down,
Hit me with the name for a Christmas song. Come on.
One Christmas song.
Yeah.
Grandpa's choking on a chestnut.
Wow. Okay. What about Santa's nipples are bigger than I thought?
Yeah. I think that exists, actually. I think
that was like a Motown collaboration where everybody in Motown did like a Christmas. Yeah.
How about Call Me Elf Daddy?
Santa makes his own milk. With them nipples, am I right? What's up? Damn.
We've already got half of the songs made.
Honestly, we're on a roll. So, but I'll get back to this story. We'll jump back to that Christmas album. We'll start that on the Patreon. Once we start a Patreon, you guys can pay us for exclusive access to.
Yeah, we'll make some great songs.
These slaps.
I've got my Christmas bells ready.
Yeah, we'll get you some access to these slaps, and I ain't talking about Santa's titties on his stomach either.
We're talking about Christmas in March, motherfucker.
So, at this time, it was early in the winter of 1943, and my grandpa's company was stationed in a secluded village of only about 500 people. Part of the advantage that they had was that this location was really hard to get to, and therefore had little chance of being spontaneously invaded by Nazi Germany. But this was also a disadvantage because it made communication with the rest of the Swiss military very difficult. The issue with communication was further compounded when sometime in early December, a series of blizzards swept through the region and completely destroyed the few lines of communication that they had in the first place. So I tell you, it's snowy there, and the snow's really fucking up your social life at this point if you live in that village. So essentially, trapped in this isolated Swiss village without being able to make contact with the rest of the army, my grandpa's captain decided it would be best to uphold the standing orders and continue defending the village, which is a very nice thing because if I was a soldier there, I'd be like we'll go make some hot toddies and sit by a fire for the rest of the war. But, they thought, we got to have guns out, getting ready just in case. And they still, interacted with the village and did their nightly walks and whatever.
You think they had one of those shot skis?
What does that mean?
The skis that you have shots glued to, and you...
Oh, they definitely had a shot ski.
An operating shot ski?
I thought that was like a Russian ski.
No.
Or a Russian shot.
I can see what you're
ski.
saying.
Okay. But no, yeah, those are fun. I've never done one. Oh, did I do one? I don't know if I definitely didn't do one in the Swiss Alps.
No?
But it's funny because when they're describing this, I'm picturing like this beautiful, like, these giant mountains in the snowy wonderland, and then like gets further along the story, and you're like, oh, hell happens everywhere.
Yeah.
Not just in ugly places.
Safe.
So
nowhere safe.
So weeks passed, and any roads to the outside world were buried in 7 to 9 feet of dense snowfall. That's almost as tall as I am.
Yeah.
I'm about 10, 11 feet tall.
It's like 3 of you, you little bitch.
I'm like Yao Ming. There's not 3 of me. I'm not that short. I'm like Yao Ming with an LP on his shoulders in a top hat.
Can you lay off the LPs, please?
It's an LP.
Just
little
saying.
person for those of you at home who don't know the vernacular. So, and like I said, 7 to 9 feet tall, then snowfall. And
okay, hold on. Just to put in comparison, 9 feet, if you think about
basketball hoop, right?
Exactly. The basketball hoop's 10 feet tall.
Okay.
So it's a little bit short. It's probably where
Rim.
about the net lays.
Oh, the rim is the 10-foot
Yeah.
mark. Okay, I thought the backboard
So it's probably
was.
where about, so if you think of where the net is at a basketball, you take that plus snow. Goddamn.
You ain't dunking over that snowfall. You ain't dunking
I could dunk on that snowfall.
You ain't dunking your way back into the next village.
I could.
You ain't Michael Jordan.
Maybe once in a day.
Michael
Till my
Jordan.
knees give out.
So, yeah, you'd be walking 10 feet and be like, oh, I guess I'm going to freeze to death here.
Yep.
So, and any telegraph and phone lines were equally useless. It grew deeper into winter, and the leaves were stripped from the trees, and the bare trunks protruded from the mountainside like broken ribs. I didn't write that, but this guy wrote that, so congrats.
You should have taken that one.
I should have taken it. Broken ribs. I have no broken ribs. So
you did like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that was like a couple months ago, December. Anyway,
I don't even remember this morning, so give me a break.
What year is it? Fuck. The town was nestled between two large mountains. Sunlight only directly reached the town for a few hours each day, making the soldiers feel as if they were living in a state of perpetual dusk, which sounds completely awful. Sounds like living in Alaska.
Alaska, yeah.
Yeah, so...
What was that one movie?
30 Days a Night.
Yeah.
So good. That
shit was
movie's
bitchin'.
so fucking good.
Yeah, well, I miss Josh Hartnett.
Yeah, what is he
Wasn't
doing?
he in that?
Yeah.
Guy was awesome.
He was really
He
good.
was in what's that one
Lucky
show?
Number 11.
No, he was in that show with Eva Green.
No, I don't know. I didn't know he was in the show.
Oh,
You'll think of it.
yeah, that
So-
show. First episode was cool.
Hey, you guys, you heard it here first. First episode of that Josh Hartnett show is cool.
Yeah.
So one night, my grandpa was at the town bar with a few of his friends from the company, and a group of locals approached them. One of them in particular was visibly upset. All the Swiss people in the town grew up speaking German, and none of them were used to having Brits around. So one of them began shouting in broken English, "Where take you the children?" Where take you the children?
Mm-hmm.
So luckily,
Need me to break that one down? Where are you taking the children?
Yes. That was pretty obvious. So luckily, one of the guys my grandpa was drinking with spoke fluent German. You gotta have one of those around, and was able to act as an impromptu translator. After several minutes of confusion and yelling, the translator turned to my grandpa and the rest of the soldiers and said, "They say some of the village children have gone missing. They want us to do something about it." Now, obviously, the British military doesn't exactly act as a bunch of mercenaries for hire, so my grandpa and his friends told the villagers to come back to the headquarters, really just a makeshift barracks that they had thrown together in the town's church. Really fucks up church service, sounds like, you know?
I feel like war always has a weird little spot in churches.
Yeah, so I feel like they were like having church service, and there was a guy like cooking like beans in a can over a fire and hawking loogies and being like, "Hey, got that naked picture of your wife I can look at?"
They're catching the rats,
They're all... What?
eating the rats.
No, I think they had some cans of beans, I hope. I
Need
mean,
that more protein.
more protein.
You fighting the big war. You're doing the big battle.
How can you fight a Nazi with no protein in your system?
You need them rats.
So, due to the language barrier, the villagers' discussion with the captain took about 2 hours. I would love to watch that discussion. And basically, what the captain and his self-designated translator were able to piece together was that a few weeks after the company entered the village, the locals had noticed a variety of bizarre incidents. At first, it was just benign stuff like vanishing pieces of wood and tarp from people's sheds. But over the 2 months, people realized that valuable items were being stolen from their homes. One man claimed that his family heirloom, a handmade ceremonial halberd, sort of like a traditional Swiss war axe, had disappeared from above his fireplace mantle. The culmination of all of these incidents was when a village child went missing. How cool.
Yo, an axe?
I was about to say,
Fuck yeah.
how cool is that to have like a not a shotgun, because that's like a little bit more dangerous. Axe is pretty bad, but shotgun causes more damage. Kid can't swing an axe, but
Oh, yes, they can.
it's easier for them to pull a trigger than to swing an axe with enough force. But how cool would that house be? Like, have like a halberd above your fireplace, like a giant axe. Like,
I mean, I'm sure I've told you, but lately I've been getting real horny on those YouTube videos of the tool restorations when they like take like
those are
ancient
nice.
fucking axes and they either sand or like burn off all the old rust and stuff and all that grime.
I like when they do it with like old German Luger guns and stuff like that. Those are so nice.
All I want is a fucking garage that I could put like a workshop in.
It's
and
like
do
a
that
nice
type of shit.
It's like a nice pimple popping video.
Oh yeah, big old burst.
Yeah, and then like it's the same thing. Like you get all that rust off, and you find yourself a nice knife underneath all of it, and you're like, oh yeah.
God, I
pour some Coca-Cola.
Someone in
on
LA,
it.
let me take your garage and make a tool.
And we got some
shop.
rusty knives. Anyone want to trade for some rusty knives? Kisses for rusty knives.
Kisses for rusty knives.
So put that on a shirt. Of course, many assume that the children's disappearance, although tragic and disconcerting, could be attributed to something as simple as the boy falling into a snowdrift while playing outside, or possibly being attacked and killed by a wolf or other predatory animals. Remember, this is the backwoods of Switzerland, so they got some.
Yeah, that shit still happens.
Everybody forgets about all the Yetis in the hills, though. Honestly,
Are you talking about Yetis?
I'm talking about Yetis, man.
The big white Bigfoot?
Well, I'm just saying, they didn't mention that, there might be Yetis on the cusp. So, but there wasn't only one child that disappeared. There were several. So they began to, wonder a little bit more about what was going on. The villagers who entered the bar, who looked especially upset, that was the father of the two young boys who had gone missing 2 days before. He had searched everywhere for them, even rounded up a posse of his fellow townspeople to join the effort, but they couldn't find a single clue as to what had happened to the children. It's probably hard to find footprints, too, when there's, snowing, a foot every single day.
That buries that shit.
So there's no real evidence, and if there is evidence, that's also, buried over. If there's, a knife or something like that. So,
fucking 9 feet deep, dog.
Exactly. So
drop a knife right, go all the way down.
Probably soft snow too,
That sweet pal. You trying to shred that pal later?
Yeah, some guy just comes in grinding off the roof. He took the kids to Partyville. Anyway, I'm done.
Red Bull station.
The Flying Tomato took my kids. That's Shaun White, if you guys don't know.
Oh,
that's his nickname.
I thought you were mistaking the Flying Tomato with the spaghetti.
The pasta monster, spaghetti monster. No, I don't know what that's called. But the captain told the villagers that he would continue to look into the matter, but he didn't, and he left the village forever. The end. I'm just kidding. The captain told the villagers that he would continue to look into the matter, and that he would begin sending some of his men to patrol the streets each night, looking for whoever or whatever was the culprit behind all the strange thefts and abductions. Imagine if they was like, we'll look into it, and the next day they just dipped out of the town.
Yeah.
That would
sounds like United States Police.
I like how you try to be controversial and it doesn't even really make sense because you're not referencing anything right now.
I'm just saying, anytime I've ever had to call the police, it was like, oh yeah, we'll look into it. Never heard again.
How often do you call the police?
I probably called them 3 times in my life.
Really?
And it was the most significant one was one time when I was living in Portland, Oregon. And I lived in an apartment complex, and I lived on this very narrow street that was like 2 cars. It was basically like only one car could drive at a time. So cars would you'd have to pull over and let them by.
Pay off.
But my car just got fucking nailed.
Oh, hit and run. Okay.
Just fucking demolished.
That's my worst nightmare, is coming out to go to work in the morning and then finding my door facing the other way, or just I walked out one day and my car wasn't parked there, but there was a car with a caved in, the axle was clearly broken.
Oh yeah, no.
I'm like, oh, that's totaled.
I was I was actually getting ready to go do a shoot for a documentary. And they're like, oh, can you make it here? I'm like, yeah, I can. And I went outside, and my car was just demolished.
Spoke too soon.
And yeah, I'm part of me is kind of happy I missed it, because they wanted me to film a
pregnant lady giving birth.
Yeah.
What? I just totally guessed that. Are you fucking kidding me?
It was a documentary following this lady through her entire
documentary.
God, no, this is way too long. This is before her fame, but yeah, it someone just nailed the back left corner of my car and just destroyed the back, the wheel well. I don't fucking...
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
Okay. Well, fuck. Okay. Well, you can't do much about that.
I called them yeah, no, we're going to look into it.
Yeah, that's what they do. They're like, we can't catch anybody.
Yeah.
We have a pile of murders right now.
Yeah.
So, and missing kids in snow. So later that night, Private Reginald Oh, that's his name. So later that night, Private Reginald
Big Reggie.
disappeared from the barracks. So he went missing now. Disappearing children was one thing, but a grown man? It seemed unlikely that an animal, even a wolf, could have taken down a healthy, full-grown man on its own. Naturally, rumors began to surface that there was some sort of monster living in the mountains that came down at night to feast on the occupants of the village. See,
Okay, bullshit.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Yeti shit right there.
No, that's a wolf could take down a man of any size.
True. I mean, but like
Wolves are fucking huge.
not Liam Neeson's though.
No, they would fuck his ass up.
Well, wolves hunt in packs, so I guess you're right. But
One wolf is not an easy
like
thing. For
Reginald
someone to-
has a gun. Like he's a soldier. You don't think he would like have some sort? They probably travel in packs. I don't know. I mean,
Okay,
the
a wolf-
soldiers, not the wolves. But
There's a good chance that you don't even see the goddamn wolf until it's on your back.
you do. You deal with a lot of wolves.
All the time.
Yeah, I'm about to say, what the fuck? You can't hear a wolf coming. I can hear like
In the snow, though, and shit, like,
I feel like you can hear the wolf in the snow better.
no twigs to break, my dude.
Yeah, snow to slush though.
Snow don't slush until
You
it's
ever
melting.
gone? You ever gone wrist deep in a slushy? You can hear that from a fucking 7-Eleven.
You're from California. You don't even know the snow.
Fist of slushy. So I guess you're right, but I've been to Tahoe, so fuck you.
Oh, okay.
It snows there. I literally countered your argument immediately. Yeah, it doesn't snow as much there, but there's fucking snow on the ground.
Well, I'd love to see you take down a wolf with a gun.
Okay, just tell him not to move. Put a couple Benadryl in it.
Shit, I'll give you a shotgun and you'd miss.
I've never shot a gun. I
There
wish.
you go.
That's on my 2019 list. Anyway, we're
You
getting on
want
track.
You want to go shoot a gun?
Yeah, that's on my bucket
Tonight?
list. Yeah.
No, we're on a watch list now.
Okay. So, despite the nightly patrols ordered by the captain, so like I said, Reginald's missing now. Where the fuck is he? Despite the nightly patrols ordered by the captain, the disappearances kept occurring. Reginald was the only adult victim of whatever was preying on the village, and the rest of the victims were all young kids between the ages of 5 and 10. All in all, including the original 3 kids who had gone missing, 7 children vanished from the town. Many people in my grandpa's company were growing suspicious. One explanation that got passed around was that impoverished villagers were actually selling their own children to human traffickers for extra cash. But even that didn't make sense because the roads into and out of the town were still blocked by snow. So,
Yeah,
you
you're not going nowhere.
You could sell yourself a kid, but now there's a guy sitting there with 7 kids and no money and not knowing what to do with himself, sitting in a leaky tavern. So
You're painting quite the picture. My God.
sorry, I've seen it before.
Yeah, I guess. Sounds like it.
So 3 more weeks passed without incident. At this point, it was early spring and the snow was starting to thaw. That night, coincidentally, when my grandpa was on patrol with several other soldiers, they discovered what was behind the children and Reginald's disappearance.
Are you going to fucking say it?
I'm getting into it. It's called dramatic pausing.
Oh.
It was some time past midnight when my grandpa and his comrades noticed a figure peering through the bedroom window of one of the villagers' houses. My grandpa was on the opposite end of the street, so at first the figure looking through the window didn't see the patrol. My grandpa and the other soldiers yelled at the prowler, and it immediately tore itself away from the window and began running away. Everyone in the patrol was certain that this was the thing behind the disappearance and the break-ins. They ran as fast as they could in pursuit through the melting snow and ice in the dead of night, screaming at whatever it was to stop. They kept running and running, and soon they found themselves on the outskirts of the village where the snow was still fairly deep. The figure jumped into the ground, quote-unquote, jumped into the ground. It looked like it had vanished into thin air at first, but as the patrol grew closer, they realized that the prowler had actually jumped into a cave that had been hollowed out in the side of a snowdrift. Just as the soldiers began yelling into the cave for the figure to come out and show itself, several gunshots exploded out of the entrance of the snow cave. Without thinking, my grandpa and the rest of the patrol shouldered their weapons and all began firing into the hole. Silence. They waited for what seemed like hours, but was really just a couple of minutes. One incredibly brave member of the patrol volunteered to climb into the cave and investigate. He drew his pistol, kneeled down, and crawled into the cave. Several seconds later, he emerged with a completely horrified expression on his face. My grandpa took out his flashlight and shined it into the cave when he saw the gruesome explanation behind the strange occurrences in the town. The figure that they had been chasing was none other than Reginald, the private who had gone missing weeks before. They had shot Reginald right through the heart, and the cave was not only occupied by Reginald, but also the bodies of 7 partially eaten children. Either due to stress of being snowed in all winter, living in near constant darkness, or some sort of terrible mental issue, Reginald had gone completely insane and had begun breaking into the villagers' houses and snatching their children from their homes in the middle of the night. He had used the halberd that had reportedly been missing to dismember the bodies after he slit the children's throats and hid them in the cave he carved into the snowdrift.
Woof.
I know.
God damn.
So Reginald was the guy, like,
Reggie.
He was with the crew during, like, the first 3 or 4 child disappearances.
Yeah.
And then he went missing.
Yeah.
It's kind of the perfect crime where
A little
then
bit.
he went missing. They go, oh my God, I got Reginald too. And then 3 more children went missing.
Yeah.
And then they found Reginald, like, out in the wilderness, and he had carved himself a cave, and he was, like, killing kids in there.
I was gonna say I've made snow caves before.
Was that Reggie?
I've made snow caves before
I mean,
for like snow camping and
this
shit.
cave had to have been at least a little bigger, right?
Well, alright, so from what I learned when I was making them is that you want them as small as possible because it contains heat better when it's smaller.
Oh, really, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
You're not supposed to make them big, and the bigger you make them, the easier it is for someone to be just randomly walking and collapse it.
oh, okay.
But
I think
yeah.
you're overlooking the main point.
No, for sure I am.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just saying, like,
That must have been a tight cave with all those 7 dead kids and him and the halberd.
had to have smelled great.
I love that show of Reggie the halberd and the 7 kids. It's like
So many hijinks
it's like
going
Three's Company, but less funny.
on. Seven's company.
Yeah. So, yeah, Reggie was the one doing it all, and I just thought that was so fucking wild. And
Are
like,
they positive as him?
No, well, that's the thing.
Could have they just shot his already dead body?
Well, how would he know where to run to the cave and jump into?
I'm saying maybe it was a Sam Squatch, and he jumped in there and dipped out another way and closed the wall, and they
But
shot it up.
there was gunfire from the hole. So unless a sand squatch,
Maybe he
a
was
snow squatch,
Maybe he was just taking a good old nap, and then he woke up to firing. He's
like,
shot back.
Which fuck, heartburn. So yeah, maybe I think you're wrong.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely wrong on this.
You're trying to defend Reggie, which I
No,
admire.
no,
'Cause
no,
we don't,
no.
I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying you're playing devil's advocate, and I appreciate it. But
I just wanted a Yeti.
Reggie's an evil son of a bitch who went crazy and
Yeah.
killed 7 kids and ate them. Why do all my stories have to do with cannibalism? I swear to God.
It's a big red flag. Big red flag.
Yeah.
I feel sleepy.
No.
What's in this wine?
Anyway, yeah, I always land up on these stories where cannibalism is one of the main parts of it.
You really do.
I think like 4 or 5 stories at this point, and
You're on a watch list.
Not healthy.
I mean, we're both on a watch list for sure.
For
but
sure.
They've narrowed you down for. They're just waiting for you to
got
start
me.
buying cleavers.
They're waiting for me to get a ticket to Utah and get a big old shovel.
Yep.
And they're like, oh shit, you're digging a hole somewhere.
They're just waiting for you to. You know what?
Get a ticket to Switzerland.
Let's go buy you a shovel and see what happens. See who shows up.
So I thought that story was really wild. I can't confirm or deny that, but like regardless of anything, very good story. Igloo 444.
Yep.
I really like that story.
Yeah,
It was in the subreddit No Sleep for obvious reasons.
Okay.
So that's why it's kind of hard to like pinpoint if it was true or not. But like, it kind of seems like something not fantastical enough to be completely false. You know?
Oh yeah, no, I mean that's a believable story for sure.
So I mean, I bet if I looked into the records somewhere along the lines, I might be able to find something.
Yeah.
But I don't have access to British.
But also during that time when wars about things like that got overlooked and no one really reported.
Well, that's why I said that. You're like, I can't really confirm or deny it because, one, there's nobody probably documenting this. They're in a small village in Switzerland, and like this shit's going down. And I don't know, like maybe you could get like killed in action, but like dishonorable discharge after you're dead. I don't know. Yeah. So completely wild, and that's the legend of Reggie and his halberd, I guess.
All right. Fuck. All right. So this is my story here. And as I've promised before in the past, I'm here to talk about a much requested topic. Do you know who Felix Moncla is?
Felix no.
No? Okay, well, let's get that full title in there, huh, baby? I'm talking about First Lieutenant Felix Eugene Moncla Jr., also known as Gene.
Okay, well, you just picked him because his middle name's Eugene.
Well, it goes by Gene, so it doesn't matter.
All right.
So by that name, he was obviously a military man.
We both got military men in our lives.
Well, yeah, we didn't plan that one.
We're both military husbands.
Yes. And so Gene was born on the 21st of October in 1926 in Mansura, Louisiana. And obviously with the junior at the end of his name, he was born to a Felix Sr., who was a high school teacher, principal, and veteran of World War I.
Whoa.
Gene's mother, Yvonne, was a seamstress, and the two would have 3 children together, Gene being the youngest.
Okay, that seems like a pretty standard relationship we got going right now.
Yeah.
Nothing too crazy. I see you're doing. You're building out a pretty normal life right now.
No, I mean, I'm not going to break him down this time. I'm just building up a little bit.
Cool.
He's not like a, highway rapist.
I shouldn't be laughing that hard. No. It's because of last episode. Don't at me about that.
Yeah. So, it would become... So his father would become ill, and Gene would end up growing up with his uncle and his great aunt.
What happened to his mom?
Well, his mom went with the dad to fight the illness.
Oh, okay.
The articles I read,
I thought it made it seem like he died or something like that.
No, from what I read, I couldn't find what he was sick with or when he died, but he became ill, and his mother helped take care of him.
They maybe couldn't afford to have 3 kids around, so they're like, hey, watch them, and we feel okay.
Yeah. So Gene was a bright young man who would play sports, earning a athletic scholarship for football at Southwest Louisiana Institute, now known as the University of Louisiana at Lafayette.
Shout out Bullworms. I don't know what they are.
What are they? I used to actually know this. I feel
really?
I think my college played them at one point. So Gene would finish his college with a bachelor's in science, and after college, Gene decided to follow in his father's footsteps and enlist in the U.S. Army, serving in World War II.
Cool.
And he occupied Japan
he was doing that. Dad, I want to do what you did. He's like, oh, you just wait. We got another one coming up.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
First one was kind of boring. You're going to be excited for the second one. We got to go.
Boy, this sequel.
We got a real bastard on the real Darth Vader-like son of a bitch.
So after World War II, Gene decided to go back to school, but this would end pretty quick with his decision to go back to war and fight in the Korean War in 1950.
War was all he knew.
What?
War was all he knew.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes that can happen. It can really fuck with people, and they just want to keep doing that. Maybe just love, serving his country.
Yeah, some people really like the camaraderie, and they just that's all I know.
Yeah. So this time around, Gene would join the Air Force as a officer pilot trainee.
Okay.
After a few months of a military desk job in Dallas, Texas, Gene would be sent to an Air Force base in Waco, Texas for basic pilot training. It was here that he met Bobby Jean Coleman, whom he would marry.
Wait, her name's Bobby?
Bobby Jean Coleman. Bobby.
Okay. I don't know many women named Bobby. Barbara? Is that maybe her real name? Bobby?
Well, that's Barbie.
I guess you're right. Baba?
Bubba? Yeah, Baba?
Hey, you Bubba.
Baba Mama?
Will you marry me, Baba Mama?
Baba Mama.
Oh, Bobby's no. That is an interesting. It could be a girl name.
Bobby Shmurda?
What at? No. Oh, that's T.I. Fuck. Okay, I'll stop. About a week ago. That's him. Okay, keep going. I'm tangenting real hard.
Yeah. So, Gene, had a real knack for the flying and would continue his training in flying an F-89 Scorpion. Have you ever seen a Scorpion?
That's a tank, right?
No. That'd be a plane.
It is a tank, though.
In Halo, yeah.
No, it's a German tank.
Okay, sure.
It is.
I mean,
strongest tank in the world.
In all honesty, it would make more sense for a tank to be named a Scorpion because,
It looks like a scorpion.
yeah, on the ground, they got the big stinger.
Yeah. Hummingbird maybe is plain,
Yeah. So the Scorpion, not only looking badass as all hell, was an all-weather interceptor jet.
What's that mean?
And so an interceptor jet they were designed to take out other aircrafts. So they weren't like bombing cities. They were strictly just to take out other planes.
That's scarier than anything.
Kind of badass as fuck.
Yeah. All weather too, so like rain, sleet, snow, they'll deliver your mail. And
it was also the first jet-powered aircraft designed for that role of doing interception.
Okay.
And that's the backstory. The plane, super badass looking. It looks like a normal old school like fighter jet, but on the ends of the wings it has these huge like jets on them.
Oh, so it's like double jet to like catch up with, like is like boosters kind of like go faster than a normal one, or
yeah,
like it has more fuel.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know. I want to know more about this jet, but that's not what the story's about.
No,
I'll independent research that.
That's just a little bit of background, So let's get into the strange and bizarre, huh?
That plane is already so strange and bizarre to me.
You want to get a little weird with it?
Let's do it weird. Let's get weirder.
So on the evening of November 23rd of 1956 or 53, sorry, the Air Defense Command in Michigan identified an unusual target near the Sioux Locks, which is a part of the lake. I think I don't fucking know. And
is it like a lock, like a Loch Ness type thing?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So, not being able to tell what it was, the Air Force sent Gene in his Scorpion to check out what it was, with a second lieutenant named Robert L. Wilson acting as his radar operator. Mm-hmm. So, I don't want to call him a co-pilot, because I don't think he actually did anything but just watch the radar.
Radar's important.
It is, but I feel like you would offend co-pilots by calling that a co-pilot.
He probably knew how to pilot, but he's like, I'm doing radar, but if you pass out, I'll grab the reins.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Wilson had a hard time tracking the object with the radar. Kind of shitty his job.
Maybe they shouldn't give him the reins.
Yeah. And so the ground operators gave Gene a direction towards the object, and eventually Gene and Robert would get within 8,000 feet of the object. And so I think at that point they could see it.
And this is a flying object.
Yes, an unidentified flying object.
Also known as a
UFO.
Thank you.
So ground control was tracking both of the...
Major Tom.
I'm sorry, what?
Major Tom to ground control. I'm sorry, I have to do it.
You have to do it.
Sorry.
So ground control is tracking both of the aircrafts, including the UFO.
Yes.
And the Scorpion, with blips on the radar screen. I'm assuming.
Classic, like submarine blips.
Yeah. So for people that can't really picture, imagine those movies where they've got that circular kind of thing that has the almost like the clock arm going in circles, going blip, 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 and it has the dots. The lime green.
If you haven't seen that, then get the hell off this podcast.
Yeah, get out of here.
You don't deserve to be on here.
Go on, get.
Hunt for Red October.
And so ground control said that they watched the two blimps head towards each other until it seemed like they merged as one blimp for like a moment.
Wait, the two objects in the sky did?
Yeah. So the two objects, the Scorpion plane, and the UFO were heading towards each other, and all of a sudden it was just one singular blip, not blimp, blip.
Into a blimp.
Yeah, one blip on the radar, and they were all just kind of like, whoa, what the fuck's happening? And they said that the only way this could have happened was if they were flying directly above each other. And it did not say that if they were heading head on, playing some chicken, or if one was coming up from the other one.
Oh, I love that chicken reference. That's so good.
Yeah. And so from what they thought, that they could have merged.
Do you think there's like tractor beam type thing going on right there?
It's a possibility.
Like, yeah, you lose all mechanical control, and then you just kind of become like stuck in some kind of force field that gets sucked in, and then maybe attached to the ship, and then they could zoom you up wherever they want to.
Yeah, and then the other option is that they collided.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like if they collided,
there wouldn't be blimps.
Yeah, exactly.
Blips, goddamn. Blips.
Stop, man.
I know.
No, but yeah, you're right. That's what I was thinking too. Where like they wouldn't. I mean, we got to finish the story because I don't know what else is happening.
So moments later, which I'm always, very curious on, quote unquote, moments. Like, how much time do we have here?
It's 3.8 seconds.
A moment. Okay.
I should Google that. How long is a moment?
I don't think it's defined by time.
A moment. Well, a few and a couple are things. So, oh my God! Wait. At last, a question to which precise answer can be given. In the Middle Ages, an hour was considered to be made up of 40 minutes, with each minute divided into 40 moments, disregarding the elastic notion of time then prevailing and allowing... What the fuck is this saying, man?
All right, we're moving on.
Oh my God, this did not tell me anything.
Yeah, that's the internet.
It made me look stupid.
So, like I said, within a moment, the two blips were the same. And then moments later, the two blips returned to the radar as separate blips.
Okay.
So there was a weird moment where it seemed like they had stopped together, and then they continued on.
That's fucking...
Because I feel like they wouldn't have mentioned it if it wasn't weird. If that was like a normal thing.
I feel like it's like against like a military protocol also to fly in any sort of pathway of another object. Like it's bad news bears. You know what I mean? You don't want to. If you're gonna fly, you're gonna fly parallel with them. You're gonna fly, above or beneath. You're not gonna fly just like
directly above.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird. That's like a very strange thing. Except for in Top Gun.
Yeah, which is a movie.
Which is a movie.
A great
Which
movie.
Is a
very
moment.
realistic movie. So ground control attempted to make contact with Gene and Wilson via radio, but there was no success. Could not get in communication with them.
Oh,
not
shit.
then, not ever.
Oh, what? And by the way, I found a moment is 90 seconds. So
Okay, well that's still like you think about how fast
90 seconds
a
too
fucking
long.
jet is moving. Even a second would be too long if it's going by.
Honestly, yeah, blips are I completely agree.
Yeah. So Gene, Robert, and their Scorpion plane had disappeared.
What the fuck?
Attempts with search and rescue were made, but the two men in their ship were nowhere to be found, along with the other aircraft.
Okay, that's wild because if they crashed, like they know kind of where they crashed, correct? Like,
yeah.
Around what state are they in again? I can't remember.
They're over Lake Michigan.
Okay, over Lake. Ooh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but I mean, it still doesn't really. I mean, I wanted to defend the crash by saying that they could have recovered the parts, but over a lake, and Lake Michigan is big
as fuck,
really, really big.
Yeah,
but still doesn't explain this flying object over Michigan that should have airspace clearance, or the military should know about it at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It is close to Canada, but you would think that Canadian
okay.
aircraft would be like, hey, we're not enemy. We're allies with fucking Canada.
I feel like if you're flying to different countries and stuff like that, there's definitely a connection between countries regardless of like borders. That like aerospace is like nobody's land, so there's like, oh yeah, and obviously nobody's land.
You would think if a plane came over borders, like they would know about it immediately.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. So the official USAF, which I'm pretty sure is just United States Air Force.
As fuck.
Accident investigation reported that they believed Gene had experienced vertigo and lost control crashing the plane into the lake. But testimonies from a member of ground control said that they believed they had caught a quick radio transmission from Gene about 40 minutes after what they would have thought the crash would have happened.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And there was no confirmation on that. They just got a weird transmission.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah. So The official accident report states that when the unknown returned, the unknown return was picked up on the radar. So like the unknown thing was picked up on the radar.
Yeah.
It was believed that it could be another aircraft, but doubts came in because that aircraft was on its course about 30 miles away, way too far to pick up any radar signal.
Okay, so they thought it was maybe something, and then they're like, no, that was way too far. Like, it's not in a radar zone.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So, could this have been a failed attack on a UFO that ended up with the death of 2 U.S. soldiers that they just kind of tried to, brush away?
Well, the weird thing is, the blips came together, and then the blips went away from each other.
Yeah.
And then I'm guessing that's probably when the ship, the Scorpion, crashed. And I don't know what happened to the UFO. Is there any explanation?
No. They don't give any answers about if they went separate ways, where they went.
It's almost a perfect crime. I keep saying the perfect crime.
Cover up.
The perfect cover up, I guess you could say, is to snatch them out of whatever vessel they're in, and a moment is 90 seconds. I don't know if they're going off 90 seconds, but fuck us enthusiasts over here, that a moment is 90 seconds. And in 90 seconds, aliens, if I know one thing about aliens, as I know that they're faster than a NASCAR pit crew.
They are shifty.
And they could fucking rip you out of that.
Book it.
Yeah, they could rip you out of that Scorpion faster than you could say, are you ripping me out of the Scorpion?
Yeah.
And, they'll get you. And then crash the jet into the water and make it seem like you're dead. And now they have you. And I don't know if it's malicious. Maybe these guys are living their best life.
It could have been self-defense, easily.
What are you talking about? Oh, you're saying the aliens were
UFO
nervous.
could have
No,
just
I'm
been
just saying
self-defense.
maybe it's not malicious in general, as in maybe they took these guys and they're just like, hey, you guys want to party with us? We're gonna go back to our planet where everything's made of what's something that's good?
Zargendorf?
Yes.
Yeah.
Fun
I
dip.
love me some Zargendorf
So
from planet Ichna.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe they're not malicious when they took them. Maybe they're just like, come with us. You're going to live your best life right now.
Yeah.
He obviously had 3 kids and a wife, though.
No, he didn't. That was his family. He had...
Wife Bobby. We can't forget about wife Bobby.
I believe he had one child with Bobby that was born after he disappeared.
Oh, his brother. He had 2 siblings. Okay.
Yeah, no. You were thinking of Felix Sr. Yeah.
Okay. Well, still Bobby's there waiting for...
Yeah, and I believe they had a daughter.
Oh, poor Bobby and daughter Bobby.
Yep. So,
Jr.
in 1968, reports of aircraft parts were found near the eastern shore of Lake Superior in late October. These could have been parts from Gene's plane.
Ooh.
An Air Force officer confirmed the parts were from a military jet aircraft, and people started to speculate that they did, in fact, belong to Gene's Scorpion. But the identity or evidence was never published, and no one can ever find anything about it.
Interesting.
So this could have been a obvious wreckage from a UFO attack. Who knows? If it's cut in half by a laser.
So my idea was that they got swiped out of the jet, and then the jet went down due to nobody using it or whatever like that.
Yeah.
You're saying
That's a possibility too.
that this Scorpion went over, checked out the UFO. The UFO was like zip zap zop.
Yeah.
Boom. You're down. You're going down, and they crash landed into the water. Because the main question is not if this guy's dead or not, or if the plane crashed or not. What was that other thing?
Yeah, and what did it do?
That's what we're glazing over, which a lot of people probably do sometimes. And that's really interesting. I don't know. Do you ever swim in a body of water?
My biggest fear is bodies of water I can't see the bottom of.
Okay.
Fucking hate lakes.
I mean, it's kind of different because a lake is very, Lake Michigan's different than probably other lakes you've been on, because other lakes are usually smaller. But especially if you went out in Lake Michigan, you drove out there very far. Do you ever wonder about how many wreckage, boats or
freaks
planes
me the fuck out.
Skeletons?
Yeah, I don't fuck with lakes, man.
Yeah.
Lakes freak me the fuck out
You
because
like
there's
oceans.
I'm
Oceans,
fine.
there's more of them.
I'm fine with oceans because it's
Oh my god, I'm the opposite.
See, with me with lakes, it's the oceans is so big. It's like obviously that shit's out there, but it's more the mystery of lakes, and there not being anywhere for that shit to go. I feel like that shit's just sitting there.
I think the Loch Ness thing probably fucked up a lot of people for lakes. But
Gyarados, man.
But on Gyarados, yeah. But honestly, like, oceans have way more deadly creatures. Like, the only thing maybe a lake could have is like a what's it, alligator crocodile type thing going on right there. But there's usually no freshwater sharks
That we know of.
There have been some that have swam up rivers and got into a lake, but for the most part, all the nasty giant squids, megalodons, we got sharks, we got Marianas Trench. That's all ocean shit.
I'm afraid of earthly things. Unearthly things, if a fucking kraken wants to eat me up, go for it. I'll be that guy that got eaten by a kraken.
See, that's the problem. We're looking up. We're too busy looking up, not busy enough looking down.
Yeah, the scariest shit in the ocean is hidden, but you got these monsters no one knows about hidden in lakes.
You might be right. I mean, I'm not one to shoot you down. You at least got scorpion parts in a lake,
I don't fuck with lakes.
It's a good point. Do you ever wonder, when I said that, do you know that like very rarely does there's never like a Rachel Jr. It's always like a guy thing.
Yeah, it's a male thing.
Like Paul Jr.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
I remember I looked it up once and I don't remember what it said, but it's just like a weird old male thing.
Yeah, I was about to say, all you ladies out there, if you ever have a daughter, name her your name Junior.
Why not?
And build a complex right there.
Start it up.
I feel like there's a complex involved in there already. He's like,
yeah.
I'm in World War I. He's like, fuck, I really hope there's another one so I could live up to my father's name.
So I'm gonna get back to my story.
So you're not done, shit.
No, I'm not done.
I'm a piece of shit. I'm sorry.
So then there was the 2006 Great Lakes Dive Company, and I'm gonna throw the quotes on here. Hoax.
That's a company?
Hoax.
Oh, okay.
So an email was sent from a quote unquote Preston Miller to a UFO researcher.
Sounds like a fat guy.
Okay, that's rude.
Oh, I just think of Preston was fat.
From Jackass?
Yeah, well, my friend said that Preston sounds like a fat guy's name.
So this guy named, and I put in quotes, Preston Miller, sent an email to UFO researcher Francis Ridge, an email that included information about a group of divers named the Great Lakes Dive Company who found radar blimps of blips of a scorpion plane at the bottom of the lake.
What?
Because those like fishing things that have sonars,
the ones
and you
that
can see objects,
like a shape of a thing.
Yeah.
Okay, that's more than like a blip. Then it's kind of like I get it.
So they had image of what appeared to be a scorpion plane at the bottom of the lake, next to a teardropped item.
Yo, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, so you can imagine something, it's kind of like a triangle with a circle, like a, teardrop.
Okay, I thought this was like not like a lame story, but like a very open-ended story, and I was like, oh man, I wish I had like more answers. That's interesting.
Okay, so after saying this email, the UFO community, it spread like wildfire. Everybody's freaking the fuck out. Everybody's trying to get in touch with the Great Lakes Dive Company. They had this guy. They had all these names of people that worked for it and stuff, and they were being interviewed by all these news sources and whatnot. And as time went on, people started realizing that this company never existed. And you find all these other boating companies on the lake who are just like, I've never heard of these people before. I've never heard of this company before. Like, it's not real.
You're blowing my mind right now.
And they found out that the website for the Great Lakes Dive Company was made around the same time the initial email was sent.
What email is that?
The one telling the UFO researcher Francis Ridge, sharing him the information, being like, we found this stuff at the bottom of the lake.
Oh, okay. So okay, I get it. So maybe somebody, an independent source, found this, created a company, and sent it to this guy? Is that what you're saying, maybe?
So what I'm saying is put it in, like, imagine... So, okay, everybody dismissed it as a hoax, saying, like, oh, these people are just fucking with everybody. This is fake evidence. But think of it from their perspective. If you find this evidence of this alien conspiracy shit, like, Are you gonna be like, I'm Alex Tobin, I found this?
No way. You'll be ridiculed, and you'll be fucking like.
Yeah.
People who come out and go, "Hey, aliens exist," they're usually like fucked up socially. Like where like their status is like lowered, and everyone thinks they're funny and crazy and blah blah blah. And like, yeah, I agree. I would put like a pseudonym on it.
I'd make a fake website about it. I'd build this whole thing just to try to get out there because I don't want it to be attached to my actual name.
True that.
And so that, I mean, everybody dismisses a hoax, but like, in my opinion, like if that was something that actually happened, like I would believe that someone would make a whole fake thing to like spread it to someone because I wouldn't want to be a part of that.
I agree.
So I mean, it's no secret that Lake Michigan is, it's no amateur when it comes to UFO spottings.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about them.
And one of the biggest in the United States history took place over Lake Michigan as far as UFO sightings. And on the 8th of March of 94, hundreds of people called 911 and reported of somewhere between 5 to 7 large lights in the sky, spanning all over the lake. Some people said it was in their backyards, basically. And so, like, could it be possible that was them looking for their ship?
Like a response to one of their people going down one of their beings going down and then trying to save them.
Like this is a highly populated area of UFO sightings.
You know what's interesting? I'm one to lean toward not believing people when it comes to like I saw an alien.
Yeah,
and it's kind of like a fault, especially if I have a podcast called Camp Strange where we talk about weird, strange stuff. It's just really hard for me because sometimes they're like, we had this alien ship and then it got destroyed. Remember we went to go ship it out or something. There's always like a circumstance or something like that. But like when something like this happens, I don't know. I'm pretty inclined to believe this. Like I don't know if aliens have visited us, but this is a more convincing story than other ones that I've heard that are just like, hey, eyewitness. Like one eyewitness. This is like 100 people calling 911 being like, what the fuck is this thing? Yeah. And if there's 100 people who don't know what this thing is that they've never seen before, it's like chances are it's something odd going on in the sky.
Yeah. And 25 years later, there's still no there's
no explanation.
Yeah.
Okay.
At least with the 1994 sightings.
Yeah. Fuck, man.
And it's like for me with these types of stories that don't have a lot of information, they're almost more believable to me.
Yeah, a little bit.
The more vague stuff that's like not like, anybody can make all this shit up, but when it's like a little more vague, it just feels more real to me.
I completely agree.
It feels more like a cover up.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, it's aliens are the one thing that I want to believe in the most, that are the hardest for me to believe. Because of the people that come out and are very strong advocates for it. And then they go and they do something a certain way and you're like, you don't look credible anymore. You know what I mean? They tarnish their reputation and then they come out and they say this thing that like might be believable. And I'm like, well, how do you expect me to back you when like you're doing this as well? You know what I mean? So it's hard, but this story is really interesting regardless of anything. I mean, a person went down in a plane. We don't know what the other object was. Best case scenario. Worst case, I guess you could say worst case scenario is an alien. That's best case scenario, I guess, is that it was an alien ship that shot it down because best case, because that's what we want it to be. Worst case scenario, it was some other
a
fighter jet that shot it down or they collided.
Yeah.
Which is still tremendously interesting.
Yeah.
And where did that jet come from? Is it from Canada? Is it from another?
Yep.
Was it an independent person? Like who knows? I still want answers.
Yeah.
So regardless, it happened. The object. I mean, the incident happened, which it makes it interesting enough for me to want to delve into, and I fully accept any sort of alien explanation.
Yeah. Well, I think the best thing about this is that at the end of the day, the military never gave an answer to what it was. So by definition, this was a UFO situation. Because by definition, UFOs,
unidentified flying object.
Exactly.
Yes.
And so like on the two men, there's a picture of like their plaque and stuff, and it said that they died encountering a UFO.
Oh, fuck.
Because that, by definition, that's not saying that it was from space or anything like that, but by definition, that's an unidentified.
That gives me chills in itself. Is that these two men died encountering a UFO? Like,
well, I mean, we can only assume they died. We don't. They were never found.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah.
Fuck. That's an interesting story.
Yeah.
Man.
And then also to add on top of this, you're gonna have to correct me. Blink-182. Tom
DeLonge.
Tom DeLonge's new UFO documentary is coming out soon.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I saw that in this research.
That'd be interesting to watch.
We gotta watch that.
I definitely have to watch that.
We could do a little review cast.
Oh, that'd be great, actually. We should set up a Patreon soon. I don't really want a lot of money, but like I think it'd be nice to like give, people something a little extra that we can, because that wouldn't fall into the category of this podcast, like reviewing stuff, but it would be something that would be interesting that I would actually love to talk about. So maybe, like $1, $5 for bullshit thing going on. I don't care. I mean, I already got a hole in my pocket from this podcast, so I don't care. I'm going all in, baby, bankrupt or nothing. That's what I say.
I quit my job for this.
Don't quit your day job for a podcast. I'll tell you that right now.
Yep.
But
there are thousands of us.
There are thousands in this genre. Sorry.
Probably within a mile radius of us.
Honestly, oversaturated, and we're one of them. Yep. So. We don't even know if we're good or not, so tell us if we're good or not, which leads us into rate, review, subscribe if you like us or not.
Yikes.
Come on, that was a perfect transition.
Yep.
That was the end of our show. I could talk about this for hours over a couple more beers and a couple of good documentaries, but we'll save that for another day, so you guys don't have to listen to that. And thank you so much for tuning in. We love it when you guys do, and we love telling you guys these stories, and because we find them interesting. Rate, review, subscribe if you like what you heard. If you didn't like what you heard, rate, review, subscribe. Actually, just send us an email with criticism. Don't leave it on the board, but I understand if you do. Anyway, we got merch, too. Are we going to do the thing again?
If you want to do it, we can do it.
We got Carmex tubes full of Carmex.
What is Carmex?
This is Carmex.
I thought that was a car thing.
No, it's chapstick. It's lip balm.
Well, speaking of car shit, we got new steering wheels for your most favorite vehicle.
We got John Wayne Gacy's handcuffs.
We got sour Jolly Ranchers.
Wait, what flavor?
Huh?
What flavor?
All of them, baby.
Oh, okay. We got belts that are actually shoelaces. Remember that move?
Belts. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was like a skater guy move.
Yeah, we've got chains that spin like the old G Unit shit.
We got wheels that spin when you stop driving.
Oh, just spinners?
You remember those? Yeah, those spinners are so good too.
Yeah. We got basketball shoes.
We got Game Boy Colors.
We got a whole Monopoly set with our faces on it.
We got Game Boy Advances.
Are those ones with the backlight?
Yeah.
We got Pokemon games that are just our faces over every Pokemon.
You're just making new things with our faces over them. Yeah. We got tampons with our faces on them.
That might sell.
That wouldn't sell at all.
We got bamboo swords for practice.
Oh, I don't want to talk about bamboo after talking about my story.
Okay.
The guy got pierced with bamboo.
We got Panda Express gift cards.
I mean, we can stop. We can keep doing this for hours. We gotta stop. Anyway, if you guys listen this long, we really appreciate it. You guys are the true fans. What's up? And we actually
welcome to the secret layer.
If you guys, if you guys
bonus stage.
If you guys like what you heard, like send us an email. If you got some weird stories, strange stories you want to send us, like we love to hear them. Even if they're not like necessarily like if you knew like if you have a cousin of a cousin that like knew a murderer, or they saw an alien, or there's a weird monster.
God, we'd get so rock hard to listen to that.
Yeah, send it. Or if you like, if you just like want to reach out, we'll reach back out to you. You know, Jake Edlin, what's up? Thank you for that nice email you sent us. And you guys are rock. And keep rolling, and
You say that you guys rock and keep rolling?
yeah, keep on rocking. And rolling. Fuck, man.
Yikes.
It's a type of music, man.
Yep.
So,
You can be real hip and hop on to the next track.
you got a hip hop and a hippity hop, and I guess we should wrap this up. You got anything else to say?
No, just I love all of you and I appreciate you all
Yeah, we really
individually.
Start naming names. Okay, and I guess we should end this with none other than don't forget to stay strange.